Hey guys, long time no see. Just wanted to do something different, of course, since I'm driving my daily for quite a while now. Taking a toll of maybe keeping it for quite a while and start modifying it. But that being said, I've had a check engine light and have rough idled for quite a while, so figured I'd do this video since there's not really a detailed video of how to do this job. So just a random for you guys who already know what type of videos I do. If you guys are new to the channel, I basically my focus is on my Toyota Corolla, but this is taking a different route now since I'm trying to help out other people who's having the issue. But anyways, it's about the EGR ports. It did fix the rough idle issue that I was having, but it did throw out a couple more codes after I fixed the issue, which has to do with the idle control valve, in which I cleaned it. It did not fix it, and then I might have to get a new one or use one from a junkyard. And then if I could pronounce it right, it's a barometric sensor, which I believe it's located somewhere in the ECU. I need to do more research, more time, and see exactly what's going on. But it still has a check engine light, and the code for the EGR system went away, but it did pop out a couple more, which is pretty weird. I did do a battery reset. That didn't fix the issue, but what did fix was the rough idle, and I'm pretty happy about that. And it doesn't seem like it wants to stall as soon as, with this type of weather we're having here in town that's really rough. It's hitting over 100 degrees, so it idles perfectly fine even with the AC on. So a couple of things I want to mention. Don't get these guys online because they're pretty expensive. You could get a pack of like 10 or 15, I can't remember, but they give you quite a lot for the buck. Part number is in the description, of course, and it's roughly $10 for, if I would like to guess, it's 15 of them that they gave me. So I still have a few more left of these. So it's a lot more easier for you guys to go to the dealership rather than buying online, because it's a lot more cheaper to go to the dealership to get these plugs. I have been driving the XRS lately, and I said I was going to park it for some modifications that I have in mind, in which I still haven't done, but I probably will do it definitely soon. So the next couple of videos will be on that, and the reflash I won't do on the ECU until I do those modifications. So just bear with me, and just thought I should throw out this video first, since that's something I've been doing lately on top of side hustles that I've been having on the weekends. So just bear with me with the XRS, and I'll give you guys some content about that. So you guys take care, like, subscribe, comment. Thank you. What's up, guys? This is going to be a really quick intro, but today I'm going to fix my daily. It has an EGR code, in which I've known for quite a while now. So what I'm just gonna dive into it, because there's no videos out there yet. So I'm just gonna perform one, because it's running pretty rough when it gets pretty warm, and it's already getting over 100 degrees here in town. So it's struggling to stay in perfect idle. I mean, it idles, but it idles really rough. So first is first, trying to diagnose this and see exactly what the car is or is having. I currently have a check engine light. So what you need to do on the OBD1 ECU Hondas is, since there's no code readers, I mean there is, but it's a lot more easier for you to diagnose this without having to buy one. is you grab a paper clip and you basically unwind it just like this, and you go to the passenger side of your Honda, and there's going to be a plug, and you take away the kick panel on the left side, and you grab your paper clip and put it onto this connector right here, just like that. So I have pretty much used the 2 bottom holes. You then grab your key, put it on the ignition, turn it on. So I was trying to figure out what was going on, and I didn't realize that paper clips nowadays have plastic. For what reason, I'm not sure, but I peeled away the plastic because what I was trying to do, which you guys are about to see next, wasn't working. So you grab your plastic and just put it, you grab your paper clip, remove the plastic, and just put it on the pin. Okay, so plastic removed, bottom 2 holes, they're in. Grab your key, turn it on, and you'll start seeing the car flash. So the slow flash is the first digit, fast flashes is the 10th digit. So you'll have ones or tenths. In this case, it's a small flash, 1 small flash. Slow flash, one slow flash, which is a 1. And then you have 2 fast flashes, which is a 2. So 1 and 2 is a code 12. So we'll check up on that and see exactly what it is, in which I know exactly what it is, but I'll let you guys know exactly. Okay, so we have a code 12, which is a exhaust recirculation system, which has to be with the EGR system. So I already replaced the EGR valve. That didn't work. So the next step would be servicing the EGR ports, which is right here where the intake manifold is at. I really don't want to take off the fuel rail and the injectors, so I'm gonna do my very best to work around that. If not, well, I'm gonna have to take it off, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so next what I did was take off this PCV valve hose, disconnect the connector right here for leads to the fuel injectors, to get that out of the way. And then, okay, grab your drill, grab your bit right there, and start drilling away the hole of your preference you want to start with first. Okay, poked it through. Now to take it out. Okay guys, so I got started on one of them and I took it out. Now, I wasn't planning to buy a puller, but you actually will need a puller. Slide hammer puller. I got it for $21. That's because I had a 20% off coupon. They roughly run for about $24 plus tax. So it comes with the set, and I use this type of fitting right here at the end. So what I did is actually drilled a hole on the plug, one of those bad boys, and just, you know, grabbed the screwdriver and screwed it in once I made the hole. And then I attached it on this guy right here and start sliding out, and of course it does slide out. I try to use like a pick or a screwdriver to pluck it out, as you can see right here, but with the screwdriver instead of the screw, and it doesn't work at all. So you definitely will need this. So I got one down. I'll show you guys the next one. Okay, so once you drill a hole on it, you stick your screw on there, you screw it in,
Okay, change of plans. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I think this is a fuel return line. I think, but I'm not sure. But anyways, it has fuel in it. I got off two 10mm bolts, so took that off. There was no pressure on it, so don't worry. And then I'm taking off three 10mm nuts. Also, by the way, I'm gonna take off the fuel rail and the fuel injectors, because I took off one plug. This one that I'm working on, since the screw is not perfectly lined up straight, it's kind of at an angle, it won't let me plug it out, so I'm kind of in a pickle trying to get that out since it's not straight. So just to get a little more room to work around this, I'm gonna take off the fuel rail and the fuel injectors. So I took off two 10mm bolts, 3mm nuts. Now I'm gonna take off this main fuel line right here. Okay, so we're next gonna get our 710mm socket. I'm loosening this main gas line. I would recommend loosening up the fuel rail nuts last, because this is moving around already, so you could do that last. Bigger extension. Get that cracked. And don't be a dummy like me and drop your bolt. Your nut, actually. Okay, so once you do that, take off this washer. These washers are very important, so don't lose them. Take out your main line, put it aside. And there's another washer that's underneath here. Put that aside also. And they're very important for you not to lose them. Use a pick or something just to get it out. There you go. Pick actually worked. So get that out of the way. Now be very gentle to take off your fuel injectors. As to which they'll come off either from the manifold or the fuel rail. Try to take them off from the manifold, and if they come off from the fuel rail, just put them back in very carefully. Move your tools. And just move it to the side. Now you'll have gaskets or plugs or whatever that go on stuck onto the manifold, so just be sure they're right on them. If not, they'll be stuck on the fuel injectors, and be sure that you have them on there too. Now the key for this the plugs to come out pretty nice and smooth, if you drill a hole right down the middle, I'm not sure why, but you're gonna struggle a bit to take them out. But if you drill a hole right on the side of the plugs, they'll be a lot more easier for you to take out. Okay, so next what I did after taking off all the plugs is take off the EGR valve also. I'm not sure if all cars are like these, like this, but on my right side there was a 10mm nut and left side is a 13mm nut. Are they like that in all vehicles? I'm not sure, but that's how it was. So take off this gasket too, and then we'll start cleaning away. So that's all that crud, carbon deposit that's inside the channels. So I could only imagine how dirty, or plugged up, how plugged up it is inside there. Okay guys, so I'm gonna shine the flashlight so you guys can see more clearly exactly what the deposit looks like. So all that will cause a rough idle or the car not to run at all. So what I'm doing is actually grab a wire and just start poking at it, and then I'm gonna put some brake cleaner inside there and hopefully get most of that out of there. Now you can run this wire too through the channels, in which you gotta kind of maneuver with it, and there you go, see that? And then once you get most of that carbon out of there, I'm gonna vacuum it out and clean it with some carb clean, and then hopefully it should run good. I'm not too sure about these injector channels right here. I'm gonna scope it out, see how it looks, but definitely don't want to play around with that yet. Maybe in the future take off the whole manifold and do proper cleaning, but for now I'm just gonna do this. So that hole is another hole, and those were plugged up with carbon. Same thing goes with the rest of the top 4. The bottom 2 feed, I believe, to this runner, and this bottom hole feeds to this runner. So I'm a little bit confused of why some runners have 2 or 1, or could be wrong. I just don't have the time right now to research exactly what it could be, but I know for a fact the top 4 feeds to each runner, and they're supposed to dig into the intake. This one seems like it channels off towards over here. This one I actually vacuumed it and used I used a combination of vacuuming and using a wire. So this top channel runs all the way across on top of the holes that go onto the intake, that feed into the intake. This channel right here, it's a little bit hard for me to feed the wire. I'm not sure if it does feed all the way through. I think it does, I'm not sure. And I know for a fact that that hole feeds to that runner because you feel it bottom out. Same thing with this one, feeds to this one right here. And then where the EGR valve, I think there's a passage that feeds onto here. I can't feed the wire to it. For some odd reason, I just can't. I mean, obviously it's all kinked up, but even if I were to make it straight and try to feed it, it just won't budge. So I'm not sure what's going on. I did my very best, but when I applied some carb clean, some of this stuff, I made sure everything was nice and clean, and it did seem like when I was feeding the carb clean, it was passaging to the EGR hole, so it means there is, a channel and it is freed up. So I'm just gonna wrap it up and see if it works or not. So put it back together, button up, reverse your steps, and get it running again. Okay, so EGR is put back together. Your 2 nuts go in. Ready to go and put the plugs on. These are the plugs I got from Honda. They cost about $8, $10 with shipping. So you could go to your local Honda dealership and get these. Now, I was having issues trying to get these plugs because one dealership was just being a pain and not trying to help me out and find them. So this is the part number for it. If anybody wants to have it for 93 a cord. I had to go to a different dealership and make them, not actually help make them, but they actually did the effort to try to find them, because this is something that many people don't do anymore. So they'll just junk out the car or sell it, or run it until it dies type of deal. So that's the reason why I'm making this video, because it seems like there's not really an informative video about this. So partner for that, so you guys don't have to do the struggle of getting the service advisor to look for it with the pain. Okay, so the original ones, they were, I believe this is brass. They were all brass. They weren't hollow, so it was completely brass. The new ones are hollow. So what I did is actually did the rounded side towards the bottom, just like that, and just hammer it away, and it'll flush in by itself, of course, because with the hammer you can only go so far. Actually, what turned out more better is I used a slide hammer, just point it down and just let the mallet drop just like that, and it'll flush in right perfectly in. Okay, so the other thing you could use to punch in is an extension. Just put it onto here and tap it in, and it should go right in. So everything's buttoned up. Now to put the fuel rail and the injector. Put in your injectors on the rail first. Make sure you have your O-rings on it. And then make sure you have all your plugs, gasket, O-rings on the injectors going onto the intake manifold. Slide it right in, along with the bolts that hold it in place. Slide, slide, slide. Slide, slide. If it doesn't go in, make sure the injectors are nice and flush onto the intake manifold. Once they are, go ahead and put on your nuts. Double check your injectors, double check that everything's nice and tight before you bolt them down. You should be good to go. Now remember the main fuel line for the fuel rail. There will be a gasket in first, then your fuel line, then the other gasket, followed by the nut. So after putting back the car together and running it for a couple days, my idle control valve code came up also after doing the repairs on the EGR ports. So what I did, just to see if I could get it knocked off, was cleaned it with some carb clean. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna have to get another one, which are really, really expensive, or just go to the junkyard. But what I basically did was take off two 12mm bolts, which it goes right here, one right here and one right here, and you take it off. Be very careful, because I actually cut myself pretty bad trying to pry off the two coolant lines that run through it. So that was pretty nasty. So for you guys to avoid this accident right here, what I actually did was take off the 2mm bolts after I cut myself, take it off, make it dangle, and then use a pair of pliers and just, cracked off the two lines itself, just wiggle it. And once I noticed that the two lines started to wiggle, I just started pulling on them, and that's the best way to go, rather than using a screwdriver and try to pry off the line. So avoid that situation. I'm gonna put it back on and see if that avoids the other code that came up after doing the servicing on the EGR ports after a couple days, and see how it goes.